Welcome to the world of the Mighty Baker, where cake is life. This is the Mighty Baker podcast. I am Pete Tidwell, your host. I am a custom cake artist, bakery business coach, certified life coach, and the CEO at my bakery business, the Mighty Baker. You might have seen me winning Food Network's Cake Wars, competing on Halloween Baking Championship, or have tasted one of my custom cakes or desserts. Either way, I am happy that you are here today. I am obsessed with the art of baking, but I'm even more passionate about helping others live a happy life. Join me here every Wednesday as I share highlights and learnings from my ongoing journey as a bakery business owner. I will also be sharing positive mindset tips and business and life tips along the way, as well as inviting some of my baker friends that I've met over the years on TV baking competition shows. Through the Mighty Baker newsletter, podcast, keynote cake battles, and bakery business coaching, I not only help you become a mighty baker, but I also teach you how to live a mighty happy life. Let's go. Hey, what's up, you guys? Pete Tidwell here with the Mighty Baker podcast. Hope you all are having an amazing week and that you are excited for Thanksgiving, which is tomorrow. And wherever you may be in the world, I hope you have a wonderful time spending time with family, with friends, by yourself, whatever the situation and whatever the circumstances you find yourself in, even if you're at your work, at your job. I hope you enjoy your day and do something for yourself. And be grateful for the things that we enjoy every single day. Anyway, this week we are jumping into after I closed my first brick and mortar shop in 2018. If you missed last week's episode, go back and listen, episode 28. I cover the years of 2015 to 2018 from when I opened my bake shop and all the successes, all the failures, all the setbacks, all the amazing, amazing experiences and learning experience that was for me, and up to the closure in 2018. And, it was a hard episode to record because it brought back a lot of things for me, but still, to this day, I look over those experiences and I learn so much, and there's so much value to be had. Every time I retell this story, I learn something more and learn something more deeper about my experience and what I can learn from what I've done in the past. Because that's the way you do it. You got to learn from the things that you do so that you can become a stronger person. And that's exactly what I did in this situation. But before I get to that point, I want to talk about something. When I decided to close and get out of that lease and close my store, first off, that was a tough decision to make. Second off, I remember it vividly. I actually relived this when I was in the Dominican Republic about a month or so ago, a couple months ago, with my coach, Dave Moreno. Was on a retreat with him in the Dominican Republic with 14 other business owners. And I relived through some of these moments during a little workshop that we were doing. And it was a really big breakthrough for me because what happened in that moment in 2018, it was after I'd been selling my equipment, moving stuff out, and I was sitting on the floor in my empty bakery with no equipment. It was all sold, no display case, floor stripped up, dust everywhere. My dream kitchen was completely just ripped out. I had just sold everything out of there. The dream kitchen, the dream bakery that I had just built and operated for a few years, I closed it and I shattered everything was done, right? And at that moment, I felt like everything was over. I felt like, what do I do next? This didn't work. What am I supposed to do? Maybe I should just go do something else and not even keep doing this bakery thing. But it was interesting. I had this moment where I wrote down something in my phone, and I wrote it in a note on my phone, and I'll pull it up right now on my phone. And it's from August 21st, 19. Yes, back in the 1900s. No, it was August 21st, 2018. Okay. sitting in the floor of my bakery, feeling completely devastated, completely empty. And I knew at that moment some things that I could have done differently in my bakery journey that I wish I would have done differently, but it was too late at that moment because I was just burnt out at the end of my rope and didn't have anything left in me. My energy was completely depleted. But when I sat there, I wrote this note in my phone that says that I want to help other businesses and I want to consult with them. I want to coach them. I want to provide marketing for them and help their businesses grow, and also help the business owners grow so that they can have the strength to make it through some of these hard times. And I would dive deeper into helping these people like analyze what they have going on in their business and help them get to the next level and the next steps in their business. And it's so interesting. I wrote that down back in 2018 and it sat in my phone for years. And I haven't done anything with it since then because I had some other ideas that I'll talk through here in a minute. But I think it's important just to note in those moments, I had some pretty amazing, intense wisdom that came flowing right there. It was those gut feelings, that feeling of just truth, that gut feelings that you have going on, that I knew that I wanted to do something with that. And that was a feeling that I never wanted to feel again. And I didn't want other people to have to do that and help teach them ways that they can grow their business and work on themselves from a mindset standpoint. I didn't know what that meant back then. And of course, with looking over my last couple of years, I now am a certified life coach and I'm teaming up all of my life coaching stuff with my consulting that I'm doing as well. So really coaching people on mindset management, time management, and marketing management, providing all those pieces to help them build the business that they want. Anyway, more on that in the future because that's what I do as a business, but more on back to my story. When I was sitting on the floor in those moments, I felt so empty and I just didn't know what I was going to have to do. And I knew that I was going to have to go back and get a full-time job. I had left a full-time job in 2015. And when I left that job, that corporate job, I felt like such a free man. I felt like I had escaped the clutches of a corporate job. I felt that I was totally freedom. I had my own business. I did what I wanted, all those kind of things. I had the freedom. But closing my store quickly, that came to realization, oh man, I'm going to have to go back and get a full-time job. And I went back to the job that I had previous, similar, same employer, and it was at doTERRA at their corporate office here in Utah County. Went back as a product manager, back as a full-time job, and I won't talk much about that, but I went back for about 3 years and did a really good job, and I loved it. I liked the team. I say I loved it. I loved the job and the things behind it, but the ultimate piece of having a full-time job and the amount of time that it takes and the compensation that trades for that, it's not worth the drama for me. It's not worth all those things. And so it felt in the moment, and probably a majority of those 2.5, 3 years, that I just felt humiliated. I felt like I took a complete step back in my business and that everything just broke down. Like, what am I going to do? And at the same time, I had some little things happen that were like little pieces of hope, little glimmers of hope here and there that were like, oh, the Mighty Baker has a different future. It has a different future, and it may be different than what you expected, but it's a different future. So be open for it because things are gonna happen. So I started noticing things for happening, and then I kind of was open to them and looked for them. And one thing that happened is an acquaintance of mine, John Briner, was at a company called Mountain Vista Catering here in Utah County. And he would come into the bakery all the time. Our kids go to the same school, all these things. And he used to just come in and, bring us some lunch and just very kind, amazing, amazing guy. And when I closed my shop down, he did one of the classiest, most amazing things that another entrepreneur could do for another entrepreneur in that particular place is coming to me and say, "Hey, I have a catering kitchen. Do you want to move your stuff down to my place and operate out of there? You're more than welcome, and you can use it after hours when we're not there, and you're available, and you can do that." So we struck up a bit of a deal, and I brought over some equipment, did a little bit of trade that way, worked on some things, and figured out what would be a fair way of doing that. And I still owe John probably a lot of money and favors from all the years that he's helped me. And I just want to give back to other people and help them in ways like that. And it's really fun. Like there's a lot to be said from there. And I just want to give him a shout out in here. I could do a whole episode on that. Actually, there you go, John. If you're listening to this, I've talked to you about it the other day, but I'm going to have John as a guest on my podcast, and we're going to talk all things cake and business and catering and all the things, right? He doesn't do cakes, he does food catering, but he would be an amazing guest on here to talk about his experience in the food industry and just him and just having him come on here and chat. So he welcomed me into his kitchen, which was amazing and a huge thing for me. I ended up landing some pretty amazing cakes while I was at his kitchen. That's where I did my favorite cake. One of my favorite cakes that I've ever done is the Traeger cake. We did one for Traeger Grills here in Utah, and we did it for a huge product launch that they had, and we made a full-size replica of a Traeger grill. This thing fed 450 people, and it was massive. It probably weighed 250 pounds. We had to decorate it and move it on a pallet because it was too heavy, and it was amazing. And of course, I have pictures on my site and on my Instagram, even a highlight on my Instagram that goes through kind of step by step on how we did it. But I did that from that kitchen. I did an airplane cake for a company up in Salt Lake called Hexcel. That was for Airbus and Hexcel. And then I started doing some cake decorating classes from there that John allowed me to do some from there. And then in 2019, so it was about a year after I closed my shop, I was kind of trying to figure out what's next for the Mighty Baker. What am I going to do? Do I want to do cakes? Like, what do I want to do? And I found an opportunity, another show to apply on. And it was Halloween Baking Championship in 2019. And I applied, and I ended up getting on the show. And going on the show, I was a little bit nervous beforehand because I had been out of my bakery for so long and not doing it as much. And so I was a little bit nervous, but I pushed myself, and like that experience was so incredible because it was a huge turning point for me. I went and met other bakers that I am all great friends with now. We message each other all the time. I'm going to try and get as many of them on my podcast that I can, by the way. So if you're all listening out there, I've all invited you before. We just need to schedule a date. I'm going to get them all to come on here, as many as I can, to talk over some of these experiences. But I have all these great friends that I met there. And that show right there, it reignited something within me. It reignited my excitement and my passion and love for baking and for just being on these shows and in this industry and how much I love all these things. And that was a really pivotal time for me and in my career, because I feel like that really gave me a push to continue going. And I didn't end up winning, unfortunately. That was a little bit sad. But my main man, Ninja Carl, the Ninja Baker. I can't remember exact name, but Ninja Carl. He's the pastry ninja. I think that's what it was. Anyway, Carl's amazing, and everybody on that show is amazing. And even though I didn't come away with a win on that, I came away with an amazing experience that helped really push me and give me the strength that I needed to believe in myself just that much more so I could take next steps in my business and build out some things. because I had this other concept brewing in my mind, and it had been since 2015, of this do-it-yourself cake studio where people could come and decorate the cake themselves and all those kind of things. And all through this year in 2018, 2019, it was working in my brain. And I remember when I was down at Halloween Baking Championship talking with my fellow competitors and just talking about my next steps. And I built the whole business plan out over those years. And that's what the next episode is us opening that store and what that looks like. And that, this business plan that I'm talking about, this do-it-yourself cake studio, that ended up being Cake Creation Studio that I ended up opening at the Shops at Riverwoods in Provo, January of 2020. And we're going to talk about that next week, but I built the business plan on purpose to make it so I was putting things in place where I could trust employees to run the systems and processes, and it would be able to run without me there every single day. Because I went back and got a full-time job. I needed income for my family. I knew my business wasn't going to be able to do it from day one. So I'm like, I'm going to build a business that I can hire employees, have them come in and do the day-to-day, and then I can work on marketing and all those other kind of things. Anyway, we're going to get into that next episode, but we're going to leave off, in 2019, I was scouting out locations and trying to figure out where this wonderful cake creation studio concept was going to be. And next week, we're going to all talk about, how I determined the location, which ones I looked at, how I ultimately chose to go to the Riverwoods, and then that whole journey. Because guess what happened 3 months after I opened? COVID hit, March of 2020. Worst timing ever to open up a new bakery business, but we adjusted, we pivoted, we lasted a little while, and we'll talk about that whole adventure next time. Anyway, you guys are all awesome. I hope you all have an amazing Thanksgiving. And remember to do something for yourself and make your Thanksgiving, your weekend, a mighty one. And remember to be kind to yourself and be patient with yourself as you're trying to figure out your business and life. And be grateful. It is Thanksgiving, so let us be thankful for all the amazing things that we have and the amazing experiences that we have, even the bad ones that help us learn and grow and help us get to the next level of our best self that we are always evolving and growing into. Anyway, love you all. You're amazing. See you later. Have a good one. Pete Tidwell is out. See ya. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Season 2 is going to be incredible, so please keep joining us. The Mighty Baker has a lot of exciting things going on. Head to themightybaker.com or follow us on social media at The Mighty Baker to stay updated on what we have coming down the pipeline. Are you or someone you know a bakery business owner? If so, you gotta check out my bakery business coaching. I am now taking on one-on-one clients and helping them create sweet success in their bakery business and their life. Head to bakerybusinesscoach.com to learn more about my coaching program and sign up for a free 30-minute coaching session. I want to coach you on any bakery business problem that is holding you back from growing and from enjoying your everyday life. Please join us next time on the Mighty Baker podcast. This is your host, Pete Tidwell, signing off and reminding you to make your day a mighty one.